Guys, what is going on? Tasty Mond. I'm here to do a little discussion about my feelings towards Tekken 8 at this moment in time. There's quite a lot of people talking about Tekken 8 right now over the past week or so, mostly talking about the microtransactions that have been going on, the monetization that's been brought into the game, the DLC characters that have been brought into the game, and I kind of wanted to give my perspective on what I think about the game in its current state, because I've actually stopped playing Tekken 8. And I am somebody that was relatively excited for the game, but I've stopped playing the game for over a month now, and I kind of just wanted to give you a brief summary on why I stopped playing it, and why I've absolutely got no intention of playing it anytime soon. Let me just start off with one of the things I feel like I need to say right off the bat, is I have played fighting games for quite a long time. About 10 years, like my first fighting game online was Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter Cross Tekken around those times. So I have played fighting games online for quite a long time. Now, I am no top player by any means. I've always been someone in about the intermediate section of fighting games for relatively everyone that I play. About intermediate, and I'm happy with that. Doesn't require too much work in order to be intermediate, just enough, and I can play all my other games at the same time. I don't like being consumed by fighting games, which is really easy to do because fighting games are pretty fun. But when it comes to fighting games and you've been around for a long time, it's pretty standard practice for someone like myself to just pick up the base editions of the games. That is like rule number one when a new fighting game is coming out, no matter how much I love the franchise. Pick up the base edition versions of the game, never pick up any sort of deluxe version or anything like that. Season passes ahead of times for fighting games. This could be said for a lot of games, sure. But when it comes to fighting games, I honestly think doubly so, because you've absolutely got no idea who the first wave of characters are going to be when they announce these kind of things. There's almost no incentive for you to pick all this stuff up right off the bat. You might as well only get the base edition, because picking the ultimate edition right off the bat gives you nothing. Maybe you will at best get a color for your costume that you might not be able to get later down the line. But trust me, you will be able to get it later down the line, because they always making extra money from some places. So yeah, pick up the base edition versions of the games, because right now, with all this monetization that's been introduced into Tekken 8 right now, people are feeling a little bit cheated because of it. And you cannot blame people, because right now we're going through a bit of a phase where fighting games are being pretty good again. Street Fighter 6 has been amazing, Tekken. It's pretty good what's been going on with the fighting games right now. It's a bit of a fighting game resurgence again, especially right now. People have been craving new fighting games for quite a while. We've got rumours of a new Virtua Fighter coming down the line as well. Maybe we'll get a Soul Calibur, I don't know. But the thing is, we're getting a new wave of fighting games for the next gen, and things feel good. But people are feeling a bit cheated with the microtransactions that have been introduced into Tekken 8, because they've already picked up things like the Ultimate Edition version of the game, and all this stuff is extra on top of it, and it wasn't included in the versions that they bought. This is honestly standard practice, guys. I'm not here to sugarcoat it or anything, but I learned my lesson a long time ago when I bought Ultimate Edition versions of fighting games, and I didn't get everything that was included a month down the line either. It's just standard practice. It's what they do. They like ripping people off from this stuff, and you have to say it how it is. Fighting games do have to get supported for years down the line as well. It is true. But I think what leaves me a bit salty about Tekken's way of doing it is the costumes that they introduced into the game are not good. They are just ripped right out of previous Tekken games, and they're not even being given the Tekken 8 treatment. The graphics aren't even up to Tekken 8 standards, in my opinion. That is genuinely how I feel about it. So it all feels a bit extra worse. At the end of the day though, I wasn't buying anything from the shop because of this. It's just typical laziness from fighting game developers, and it is true. They have to be called out for that. If you want people to buy your extra costumes, you have to put a little bit of effort into it, not just copying, pasting crap from previous games. I 100% agree. And when it comes to fighting games, I am a little bit more critical than your average game, and it's probably just because I play them online competitively. I've played them for quite a while. I think the experience should be good playing them. Street Fighter should also get some flack for the costumes, just like Tekken here, because we waited months for extra costumes in Street Fighter, and, I don't think they were good enough, because I've not bought a single costume in Street Fighter 6 either, because I don't think they're worth the money. just like Tekken. Do I think they put more effort in than Tekken? Maybe a little bit, but it still doesn't excuse how bad they are. And I think if you think they're good, if you could look at Ken's costume or like Kami's costume and say it's good, like something's wrong. You paid real money for that garbage. Something's wrong. But at the end of the day, Tekken's is also not good, and it is basically just a copy-paste. So Street Fighter's is a little bit better than Tekken's there. And when it comes to the actual battle passes that are in the games, I actually don't mind these, I'm going to be honest. I think it gives players, a reward for people who keep playing longer than the average person. So some people who pick these games up are upset about this stuff because they're not getting all the extras. But it's not really a big deal. It's little avatar costumes and little things like that. Nothing that's going to make it game-changing. At the end of the day, the way Street Fighter goes about it is, if you play enough, you get the money back to buy the next one for free. So essentially, you get them all. And I don't mind it. Like I say, it gives people a reason to keep playing. As long as you keep playing, you get the money back, you get all the rewards. I quite like it. It's an incentive to make people keep playing. I don't think that's really a big problem. I think the problem is the rewards on the Tekken side that people are talking about are kind of shocking because, like I say, once again, it's kind of just ripped from other games and put in there. These things were already all freely available in Tekken 7, and just because of how lazy Tekken 8 has been, they've decided to put them in there just for the sake of it because they cannot think of any original stuff. That's the worst part about Tekken's Battle Pass, in my opinion, and I think they should actually do something about it. Now, what I've just talked about there is probably what the average mainstream audience person will be thinking about Tekken right now. Microtransactions this, microtransactions that, sucks, didn't get my money's worth, yeah. But why I stopped playing Tekken 8 was because the game's just no good enough. And it is honestly that simple. Before this game came out, it was being said a lot that this game is Tekken 7.5, and it was hard to argue from looking at it. Sure, the game looks lovely, but the game kind of lacks an identity as far as I'm concerned. It still kind of plays like previous Tekkens, which is fine. It's a legacy game, There's a bunch of new mechanics in the game. Ultimately, though, the game is actually broken. Now, I'm no Tekken expert, but even I can see it. Coming from games like Street Fighter 6 as well, that's got the best online I've ever played in any fighting game. Best online I've ever played. Kind of crazy. I mean, I love the online. Rarely do I get a bad match. And if I do, it's maybe because I accepted a Wi-Fi opponent or something. So, Tekken doesn't work online. At least for me. And it doesn't work for a lot of other people. There's a lot of people that say that their netcode is fantastic. I guess you guys are the lucky one. Because there's a lot of people that don't think it runs fantastic. There's a lot of information on the web that shows that it doesn't run fantastic. I don't like playing a fighting game that doesn't let me play it. And Tekken 8 falls into this category purely because it doesn't work online. It works maybe 50% of the time. And that is unacceptable for a fighting game in 2024. So yeah, that is the main reason why I stopped playing Tekken. It just doesn't work online. And I won't play a game that won't let me play it. And I think a lot of people could appreciate that who play the fighting games online and actually want to get good at them. It's just unacceptable, right? There's a few other reasons. It's probably the worst fighting game I've ever played for rage quitters. I genuinely cannot believe how many rage quitters are in the game or how many people skipped the first to two. They just one and done. It's absolutely outstanding how many people are one and doners or pluggers in that game. It kills the motivation to also play, and especially when half the games are laggy. It's genuinely one of the worst communities I've seen online for playing any sort of fighting game. I don't know what's going on. I didn't expect it from Tekken, but it kills the motivation to play. But like I say, I could live with the one and doners and pluggers if the online was actually good. It doesn't really matter in that regard. It's just something to fuel the fire of making me not want to play the game anymore. There's more reasons too, but this falls more into more professional play, there's a bunch of jank hitboxes and stuff like that where moves miss or moves hit people when you're not even in line of sight. It's just, the way it goes is Tekken is usually, it used to be in the arcades for years on end until they got a finalized version that came out on consoles. Tekken 7 example, when that launched, it was the I don't even know what iteration of the game it was, but it wasn't the first one, put it that way. There was a lot of balancing that went into it, and then they ran into problems in Tekken 7 when they released DLC characters, you know, and the same's going on here. They don't know what to do. The game feels broken because you've got characters doing absurd damage because of the mechanics in the game, so they've not balanced it correctly. It's true, even I can see that. And one of the things they've done lately with the latest patch, as far as I'm aware, is they actually nerfed the mechanics in the game to actually nerf Devil Jin, which is a real problem when you're like removing mechanics from the game just to balance a character. So that leaves a lot of like motivation gone to even get back into the game when stuff like that is going on. Another couple of reasons why I don't really like Tekken 8 is, like I said earlier, it kind of does lack a bit of an identity. Everybody says it's really, really good that you get the Tekken jukebox in the game and things, where you can just basically put in any music from Tekken into the other stages. I think that's amazing. But what it's actually disguising is that the music in the base game is not that good. Usually Tekken is actually known for pretty hype music. Very good to watch in tournaments because the hype music is on in the background, two awesome players playing, everybody gets hype. Music in Tekken 8, I'm going to honestly go out on a limb and say it's not that good, and that is why they put the jukebox in there, so that people could actually just put in previous Tekken music that is actually good, where they did put a lot of work in. I also think the stages are subpar in the game. There's quite a lot of stages in the game, but little do you know, they're basically just the same stages. They're also kind of ripped from Tekken 7 with a different background, which I think is unacceptable, and which kind of like leads into the Tekken 7.5 angle. This is all just my opinion, of course, and you know, everybody's opinion can probably be different, but it overall leads me to feel like it's just a subpar, unfinished fighting game as a whole, Tekken 8. I wish it had a wee bit more of an identity for itself, like I wanted to listen to the music from Tekken 8 on its own. I wanted to see all these stages from Tekken 8. Instead, we're kind of like just feels like we're playing Tekken 7 again in so many ways. I also do not respect that they have just decided to put in the shops and all that stuff before even attempting to fix the netcode. There's also another huge problem where bad PCs, if they are running the game, it screws up lag on the other side for the opponent. So, and I even seen this firsthand. I watched a relatively famous fighting game Tekken player playing online, running the game at like 50 FPS. His PC was dropping frames everywhere. It really does. And it was stuttering everywhere. And it makes you just wonder why, like, they're not doing something about all this. There is also, like, the community running the games on worse PCs, which also add to the problem of the netcode combined, just leading to an overall bad experience of the game. I think they should be letting people run a benchmark before even letting people play online if they've got, like, subpar PCs. There's so many problems with Tekken 8 that it just makes you not want to keep playing the game. It sucks. Genuinely. Well, that's where I stand on Tekken 8, guys, and why I've not played the game in like over a month. And I've got absolutely no intention of going back to it anytime soon. I would like to hear what other people actually think about Tekken 8 in its current state right now. Are you guys actually getting on with the game? Are you one of the lucky ones who's actually had a good netcode experience? Do you not mind the costumes in the game? Do you actually think they are worth the money? Because I don't actually think they're worth the money yet or anything. I think they need to like rework these costumes, give people an incentive to buy some of these things if you want to keep playing the game. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about it, and I'll catch you in the next one.